Hello, hello, hello. Live after a long time, and today is extra special. You know why? Because we
Hi,
have
can you hear me?
Twishi with us. Here she is. Hi. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. So before I start, I would like to just briefly say a little bit about what this live is going to be all about. As you all know, I keep doing, every Thursday I do my Guruvar ki Gupshup, and this whole objective is normalizing conversations around mental health. And along with Guruvar Ki Gupshup, I also do a series called Courage to Heal, where I invite people who have gone through their own healing journeys, through using different modalities, maybe with me, maybe with other therapists. And the whole Courage to Heal series is all about people who want to come up and talk about their challenges and how they overcame that. And again, the objective is to normalize conversations around mental health, around healing ourselves, around working with our emotional issues, so that it becomes as normal as talking about your, stuff, digestion issues or gynec issues, etc.
Last year,
So here we have
January,
Twishi with
last
us
January.
today. I had
Yeah,
done a live with her, I think, last year. Was it last year?
more than a
Yes,
year.
last year. Oh, it was okay. So it's almost a year and a half. Yeah. So last January, I remember I had done a live with Rishi, and she was like, "Oh my God, I don't think I want to do it. We'll do it for half an hour. I don't think I can do more longer than that, blah blah blah." And after the live, she was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I think this was quite cool, and I think we can do this more often." And of course, after that, she went off to Germany where she's doing her masters, and we really never got the chance. We also personally in our life went through, some losses and a lot of up and down. So here we are after almost 15, 16 months back with Twishi Live. Lovely to have you, Twishi. You are looking so good. By the way, it's not a coincidence I mean, it is a coincidence that we are both wearing red. While Twishi is all nicely dressed up, I've just been wearing this, my home clothes.
Nice. I saw
And
your
Twishi, by the way,
Anshed
can
put
you
up a
see that?
story.
That's the
I had
painting I
seen.
just did today. Just wanted to show you. Oh, is it? He did?
Okay.
Oh, okay, okay. So it's not complete. I have to still add a person to that. But anyway, so there's Twishi with us. Twishi, introduce
All right.
yourself to my
So
followers who were
basically,
not
hi
there in your
everyone. I
last
am
live with
Twishi.
me.
I'm currently studying masters in Germany. I am Riri ma'am's daughter, in case you guys do not know. And I have done my education in my bachelor's in Ahmedabad, PDPU Gandhinagar, and I moved to Germany last August. And since then, I've been doing my master's here. And of course, I had to join if my mother asked me to do a live. But it was fun last time, like she said. So I was very open to it. Um, but yeah, let's see how it goes. Am I supposed to call you Riri ma'am or mommy is okay? Okay. All right. All right.
You can call me whatever, Riri, my mom, anything doesn't really matter. The objective is not to talk about me in any case. So basically, today's live, Twishi, is all about the certain challenges that are faced by students who go out of India, and because not it's not just you, of course, as my daughter, I know the struggles you went through, but I have a lot of youngsters reaching out to me for therapy who are in the age group of 16 to 19, 20, 22, who are really struggling a lot with mental health issues, especially being away from home, who have gone to different countries. And this number is increasing because more and more students are actually going out of India to study. So I wanted to really talk about those challenges that are faced by students. You can talk
Yeah.
about yourself as much as you're comfortable to talk about, and generally also. So what are the challenges, first things that you face? I mean, going out
No.
is so glamorous. Everybody wants to
Yeah.
go to USA, Canada, Australia, Europe, France, Switzerland, and everybody, they see
Yeah.
all the YouTube
No, so the
videos
first
and
thing
they
that
go
I would
there,
say is
and
that
then the
if
reality
you're going
hits.
out to
So please
study
tell
to
me, what
run
was
away
your
from things,
experience?
don't do that because they'll come and hit you back even harder. So be mentally prepared for that. But other than that, yeah, I mean, moving abroad, especially if it's your first time, irrespective of what age you go at, it is tough. And there are a lot of different domains in which it gets tough. Of course, the physically moving to a different country, adjusting there, living alone, that is a separate ball game altogether. Adapting, the emotional challenges that come with moving abroad, along with the psychological challenges. Yeah, yeah,
So remember, this live is also going to be seen by parents. So you're not
yeah,
just addressing the
yeah. So
youngsters,
along
but you're
with
also
that,
addressing
um,
parents who need to
I
know
guess
what their
personally
kids
for
will go
me,
through.
moving
Yeah,
abroad
sorry.
came with a lot more challenges than I expected, because I came very confidently, being very honest, that, oh yeah, I've lived abroad, I've traveled so much. It's going to be very simple for me to, adjust to a new country. I'm going to enjoy, I'm going to travel a lot. But then slowly things start creeping in terms of, just to cover a few topics. The way you perceive your relationships change, the way you connect with your friends change, the way you define yourself or look at yourself, or your self-worth changes so much also after moving abroad. And this is just alongside the challenges of adapting to a new education system, a new country, different people, staying away from your family, away from your loved ones. Like, you can't just take a flight back and go whenever you feel like it, right? So at least for me, I would say the first 1 month was very difficult, because, like, it hit me very badly, I would say. Since then, it's been like, we'll talk about that, I guess, throughout the session. But there are a lot of different things help me. But yeah, challenges are immense, and it comes in all domains, right? I have talked to so many students over here, and everyone's on the same boat. So it's not like it's just me as an exception who goes through difficulties because I moved abroad, or just my neighbor does, or just one of my friends does, but everyone. And through different conversations, through different relationships that have developed over here, I've realized that there is too much of an identity crisis. There is too much of a shift in terms of your self-perception, a shift in terms of how you view your relationships. So what are your priorities in your relationships? What are you focusing on? What Yeah, I am an overthinker,
My
so maybe that'll
my
help or
God, you
not help,
think
I don't
so
know, in this
much.
life. But yeah.
What what were the primary negative emotions that you dealt with as you moved out, and which a lot of your,
Yeah,
say,
master.
peer group deals with? So, by the way, Twishi is not somebody who went for a graduation. So, there's a whole group that goes after 12th grade who are much younger, like 17, 18. Twishi went after her graduation. So, she
Yeah.
went when she was
So
22, which is
yeah,
different age
so I
group. But
mean, so I have been
anyway,
someone
yeah,
who,
would
over
you
the
like to
last
talk
two,
about
three
what
years,
were the
because of
negative
my
emotions?
parents, have had a lot of chance to deal with, negative emotions, work on my anger issues, deal with anxiety, manage stress, etc. So I had basic awareness of, what could possibly go wrong, because I developed that self-awareness over the last few years. But when I came here, I remember, of course, first I was very excited, but the moment I settled into my room, the door closed when the landlady left, it suddenly hit me, it just felt very empty. And empty might not sound like a very negative emotion, but when you feel it, you realize it's actually very intense. When you feel empty, when you realize that, okay, it's just me over here, I don't know what is going to happen, I don't know how things are looking at, I don't know who are my friends, my family is too far away. So one thing that I felt was a lot of emptiness, which still comes, by the way, but that was predominant and very intense. Then also there was a lot of anxiety or a lot of stress about just future. What is it going to look like? How is my college going to be? Will I be able to make friends? Will I be able to relate to people? Will I be able to adjust? Will I enjoy the program that I've come for? Will I enjoy the entire experience? Or is it just going to become a big trauma circle for me or something like that? And third would be, again, there was, yeah, guilt as well, because
The
at least in
guilt
the first one
about
month I was
spending
like,
parents' money,
this is
was that
this is a
there?
dialogue my friend keeps saying sometimes, kahan fas gaye. I used to think that a lot in the first month, because I was like, oh my god, I am here, my parents have spent
Huh.
so much of money, I don't think I want to do a business degree, I don't think I want to live in this country, I think I should just go back to India, I think I'll do very well there. I had that confidence that no matter where I go, I will do fine. So there was a guilt there, definitely, that I have spent so much of money, I've come so far, and I'm unhappy. So that guilt also comes into the picture, that my parents sent me here to build a life, to be excited, to learn new things, but
Mm.
I was not in the headspace to do that. All I felt like doing was sitting at home and crying or talking to my parents. So there was a lot of guilt with that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, ho- uh, did you look around? Like, were there others also who went through similar emotions? Were there other challenges that students like you would have had?
Yeah.
Before we, of course, go to then what did you do about it? So I'm just trying to get a perspective. Like you, of course, had somebody who had lived in different countries, you had a global exposure, you were somebody who had traveled so extensively with us, and you were the last person we thought would get overwhelmed
Yeah.
or would would feel so out of place. Like you, I remember, like I was like, oh God, if Twishi cannot settle
So
in, like who
there was
can,
similar,
right?
of
And
course,
yet
like
you
no
went
one
through all
talks
this. So what
about
were the
this. People are
struggles that
not
other
that
kids went
expressive.
through?
It takes a while, but over the next few months, I realized that, yeah, I think everyone's on the same boat. Everyone's still figuring out what they want to do, comparing themselves a lot to people around them, very unhappy with how the situation is, like, missing home, especially when festivals come around, or, when you're cooking something, food is not good, you feel like missing home. So that was very common. But I've also noticed one thing, right? That there are two kinds of people who move out. One are those who just want to leave their country and leave their family behind, right? Because they are looking forward to something new and they want to close the previous chapters that they've had. And there's some people, yeah, possible. They don't connect to their
Or they
families.
probably
Yeah,
had a
yeah.
lot of
They don't
trauma
connect to
from
their
their family
families. They don't
members, or
like
they
their
are ones who,
country.
like,
So there's one
first
category
chance
of
got,
people
they
who
want to
move
run
out
away. Yeah,
because of
yeah, yeah.
that. And there's the other category, I mean, I think I would fall under that, where I'm optimistic. My objective to move abroad is not to settle down, but to gain new experiences and move back to my home country, right? Now, I'm not saying that both of them don't face the same things. Of course, the emotions are the same.
Right,
Even
right.
people who are moving away from something feel empty, feel homesick, miss home. But there is a slight difference in terms of the way
Still
with which you approach it,
going
right?
through.
Because I knew that I wanted to go back, I felt like, do I really have to get used to the place? Maybe instead of going back after 5 years or 6 years, maybe I can go back after two. So that difference in, I think, handling the situation differs in terms of what context you guys come from. But yeah, predominantly everyone goes through the same thing, girls, guys, whether you're 21, whether you're 23, whether you're 25, it's the same thing. It is not any different. Yeah.
It's the same.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you do? Because I remember that you used to cry a lot in the beginning. And I remember you saying that, would you be
Yeah.
extremely disappointed
You're
if I
revealing all
actually
secrets,
just
Mama,
finish my
on the
studies and
call.
come back to
Everyone,
India
all of my
and not
friends here
even
are
do a
watching.
job here? I remember.
Yeah, I am just kidding.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that doesn't matter, right? I mean, these are things I'm sure they also ask their family members. And I remember saying, no, no, it's okay. Ultimately, it's your future and what you want to do. But so tell me, what did you do to deal with this? I mean, you were coming from a family
Availability and
of
yeah.
therapists. So obviously for you, you know the solutions. In fact, you have been trained in some of these things, but still, like, I want you to share over here that
So this was
what
a
did you
long
do?
process.
What helped? Who did
Just
you
by the
reach
way, to
out to?
everyone, just
What
because
worked?
parents are
What didn't
therapists,
work?
that doesn't make doing what they do on a daily life easier. Okay, I think I am more opposed to the things that they do regularly, and I don't follow it. But it was a process. I know for the first 1 month, I was not able to push myself. Like, I knew logically that, okay, I need to keep busy. I need to meet people. I need to reconnect with my hobbies, do some physical exercise, etc., etc. But it was difficult for the first 1 month. I didn't have the energy in me because my appetite, I was not used to the water here, the food here. My appetite was low. I was not getting good sleep. I used to wake up in the morning thinking about Ahmedabad, and then, my heart used to start beating very quickly. A lot of things were happening which I didn't know how to deal with. So at that time, I used to talk at home a lot to my parents. But talking to my mom made me feel even more sad. So I reduced that and I talked to my dad more, and he used his therapy tricks or NLP tricks or whatever to try to help me snap out of situations. But what helped me initially was just to snap out and get up and do something else, right? So if I was feeling unhappy at home, I would open the door, walk out, go for a walk, spend the next 3 hours outside by the river, go on a walk somewhere, eat something nice, and come back. And I remember this something my friend Soumya had told me, that, it's very important when you are, especially getting used to a place, to treat yourself. Something as silly as, just paint your nails, or just go and, buy yourself a nice pastry, or buy yourself a hot coffee or a hot chocolate or a croissant from the bakery. These small things help to keep your morale high, especially they help in the beginning, and they help me a lot. But then what I realized over time, that moving abroad, okay, it had happened. I was getting used to the place already. But the emotions like emptiness and anxiety, stress I talked about, they were bringing out other baggages from the past, right? And then I think my dada passed away, I think 1 month or 1.5 months after I left. And that was, I think, a very big trigger, honestly, because um, it was
Yeah.
like the bucket started overflowing, in terms of all the self-esteem issues that I've had before, the frustration, the lack of clarity, everything was just like completely bombarded. So that was tough. And then I realized, okay, you know what, maybe I need to get some help. So I've been taking therapy pretty regularly, not regularly, maybe once a month, once in 2 months over the last 2-3 years. So then I was like, okay, let's try that again. At least it'll give me a space to just talk and just maybe get some more clarity and work with, these things that I was feeling related to my family, my friends, whatever incidents that happened in the past. So I used to take sessions sometimes regularly, sometimes not regularly, and I still do. And that helps me consistently in terms of just processing things and, getting closure to certain concepts and finding the motivation again and again to keep doing new things, right? Another thing that helped me was reconnecting with my hobbies. I had not danced other than the ISEC jives for I don't know how many years. And just one day I just felt
Mm.
like, let me just turn on some music and dance. There was no particular choreography, no flow, but just that body movement, walking, moving my hands, moving my legs, shaking. It helped a lot in terms of
Yes.
dissipating the energy and singing a little bit, listening to a lot of music. I'm someone who's slightly very traditional, so I like listening to traditional music, different ragas, shloks, different chanting, Bhagavad Gita chanting, things like that. They give me,
Did chanting
yeah,
help? Because I remember when
Bhagavad
you were
Gita,
a kid,
Gita
not really
chapter
a kid, but a
5.
teenager, and I remember you, whenever
Yeah,
you were stressed, you used to chapter 5 of Bhagavad
yeah,
Gita, right?
yeah.
So because I had caught you
So
doing
So
that
I didn't
in your
chant a
room
lot, but I listened to
sometimes.
a
So
lot of I
did you
listened to
do
a lot
that
of
again
chanting because
after
what
a
used to
gap
happen
of
is,
all
like I
these
said,
years?
in the morning I used to wake up and my heart, I could feel my heart palpitations, right? And because I had already faced that heart issue for a while, I used to get a little more scared about that. Okay, what am I going to do in a different country over here? But then I think you or Papa would have suggested, okay, maybe turn on Hanuman Chalis something first thing in the morning when you wake up. So I used to have my speaker next to me, and the first thing I used to listen to was that. So it at least helped keep a little busy. And because I like singing, my voice automatically starts going with the beats. So that used to help in terms of, first thing in the morning, just keeping it busy while I'm cooking, while I'm making breakfast, having coffee. I used to do that. And I also connected with a lot of friends. So that is a very, very nice thing to do. Everyone should try that. I don't think I've talked to my school friends as much as I have since I've come to Germany. I've talked to them a lot on call. I started talking to Tana Masi, which I have never talked to as much as I talked to in the last 6 months. So talking to people other than direct home helped because it just got in more relatability. It kept me busy. It gave me a space to talk about things without. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you
And then
okay?
you are not in the
Are you
same loop with,
adjusted? The moment you
parents.
ask
Like
that, I start
otherwise,
crying.
parents
Yeah,
ask the same
it's
things.
a
You have the
very
same
bad
things to
loop.
ask. You were worried about parents.
Yeah.
Parents. Yeah. So I guess there are different conversations you can have.
Hmm.
Okay, okay. What type of therapy actually help? Like what kind? Because obviously, Twishi is taking therapy sessions from her therapist, who I know, but I don't know what they do because of the confidentiality reasons. So I just want to understand, Twishi, very generically that what kind of
So one
modalities really
thing that the
worked for
small
you?
things
What kind
that
of
Papa
therapies
used to
helped, or
do of
how did therapy
NLP, they
help you?
helped, a little bit to snap out of things and change my headspace. I don't know what he did. Honestly, I have no idea of the terminology about that. But yeah, then I think with my
That even I
therapist, I
wouldn't
have
know.
done a lot of inner child work because something that I've realized, and a lot of just energy discipline. I don't know exactly what it's called, but I tend to
Okay.
feel everything very much in my chest. So it's very, within a snap of it, I feel very heavy. If anything negative or anything uncertain happens, and that
Hmm.
makes me feel very suffocated and very uncomfortable. So there was a lot of sessions I've done where it's just releasing that energy, figuring out where it's coming from, and doing a lot of inner child work in terms of at least the self-esteem issues that popped up in the first 6-7 months. Um, and then because grandparents passed away, a little bit of work on that to just process
Okay.
things.
I
So those
see.
were the 2-3 main things that were grief. Yeah.
Yeah, grief work also probably. I don't know if you did it because Twishi lost both her grandparents in a period of 4 months. One grandfather she lost when she was not even here. She was in Germany, and then when she came to visit us, she lost our grandmother. So it was quite a lot in those 4 months. So I presume. Do you talk about like do you suggest therapy to your friends? How do they
Honestly, I have
take it?
not
Like
had that
how does it work?
conversation.
Like
Maybe
are
it's
people open there
my
about
thing.
taking therapy
I don't know,
sessions?
but at least it has not exactly come up other than with one or two
Okay.
friends. Because I think something I've realized after coming here is that your entire life can't
Mm-hmm.
be put onto, because I have a tendency to express and over express, which I realized after coming here. And I had to realize that, all my 25, 35 friends don't need to know what I'm doing every second of the
Mm-hmm.
day, right? A few things have to be just your own, because the moment I advertise that, okay, I'm dancing every day or I'm doing this,
Absolutely.
I don't feel like doing this. It's just not mine. It's not exclusive. So at least when it came to therapy work in between, it was my space to just put things aside and just not make it very logical and just do what made sense and what felt right. So it has been a very personal thing for me. But I think my friends back in Ahmedabad and everyone are pretty aware that I have done it. But I would recommend it to anyone, because yes, of course, developing the individual strength and all is important, but at least therapy has helped me develop that strength to do things on my own, right? Because you need an outlet, a neutral outlet that is not biased, or that's not going to
Mm.
just agree or disagree to whatever you say. You need a space where you can talk and process stuff, right? It's not just talking. Actually, my therapy sessions are not just me talking. It is a lot of processing stuff, which is not something that I know personally I can do on my own. Like, I know for a fact what exactly is a session going to look like. Yeah, it's still working. So I know what the basic
And this
framework
is
is, and if
online,
I want, I
but it
can put
still works
myself into
for
that
you,
zone
right?
as well. It's become like an instinct for me, but I would still need someone to push me the direction or guide me, or provide me that space where I can just talk without like
Mm.
talk to one person about everything. But usually what happens, you talk to your friends about, let's say, your relationships, or your other friends. You talk to your parents about adjusting here. You talk to your aunt about something else, your grandparents about something else, and then you just don't. There's no one person who knows everything. So that therapy space gives me that chance to just speak out. Yeah.
Okay. So, anybody of you have any questions for Twishi or me? Please put in that question box so I can answer. But Twishi, what do you have any concerns when it comes to young people your age who are living out, living abroad? Do you see any red flags? Do you see, that you would like to really bring up? Because here, my followers are a mixed group. Basically they would be young adults, there are parents, and there are few teenagers as well, but mostly parents. So, is there anything that you would
Red
suggest? I
flag
mean,
in terms of
first of all, are there
before
any red
moving
flags? Do
abroad,
you
or when you're
see what,
moving abroad, or
what's really
what?
happening? No, after moving abroad, because parents have no clue. You see, they've sent the kid, they've sent their child, and they're assuming that everything is fine. But,
Yeah.
what is it that parents can do,
So
or
I
what is it
think
parents should not do
like for me at
if
least, my
they
relationship with my
really want to
parents
help?
improved a lot after I moved abroad, because I could speak more freely and I could develop a better relationship, because we had more conversations simply after I moved abroad. But I think something that has helped a lot of people is, at least a lot of people my age, is that just having the reassurance that your parents are standing by. Because a lot of times what happens is, most of the time, like with the guilt we talked about, right? Students feel guilty if their things have gone to waste. But if they have a space or that energy from their
Yeah.
parents that it's okay, irrespective of how things pan out, you have that support from us. I think that makes a very big difference, and that just brings in a relief and gives the individual more space to figure out what exactly they like or they don't like. Because if that guilt is constantly looming in your head, it is very difficult to focus on anything else or be optimistic about anything else. So I think exactly. And people
And
may
then if you
disagree,
can't
but for
even share
me,
that with your parents, that
talking to
makes
my
it tough.
parents helped a lot, because, like I said, the relationship improved and there was a lot of communication and that trust develops. So if any individual parent can put in that extra step to connect with your parents or your child, have conversations that you may not have always had, if of course your family dynamics are like that, right? No pressure on anything, but that makes a very, very big difference in terms of just
Yeah.
the emotional
Yeah.
support. Because at the end of the day, I think after you move abroad also, you realize that there are very few people in this world who literally unconditionally care for you, and most of the time it is the parents only. That's the only consistent relationship anyone has in their entire life. So I think fostering that and using that as a strong root or a foundation can be a game changer.
So how do students like you find your support groups there as well? Like assuming this, suppose if there's somebody who cannot afford therapy or there's somebody who's not close to the parents,
So,
then what really
I
happens?
mean,
What do they do?
something that I've realized over the last
How
many,
does
many
it
years
work?
is that you just stumble upon the right people. There is no standard operating procedure for making friends or finding people you connect to. They just somehow, things just fall into place somehow and you discover that somehow, right? So I think for me, like, something that I take pride in is that I am generally very expressive. So it helps me to connect to people because I often have a tendency to speak things aloud that people don't usually talk about, right? Like, I don't know how many times I have brought up a conversation of homesickness with my friends, or, feeling very anxious or feeling like shit in front of my friends. I am very, like, open about that, and I speak very openly. So that has helped me connect to people, because then that relatability steps in. When someone automatically opens their mouth and talks about stuff like this, then the rest follow. Yeah. Yeah. So that is something that
They feel safer around
that
you.
helps. And
Yeah, yeah.
when it
They
comes to
probably feel
finding your
safe
people,
around.
you just do that. So yes, put in that extra effort to, go to more parties or visit more people. Suggestion for anyone: for the first 1 month, please don't just stay home. Push yourself to go out and meet new people, because otherwise forming a support system becomes harder. So if you do that at the very beginning, you can connect on the same emotions, you can connect on the same stressors, and that provides a very good basis for you to, help each other out and be a support system to each other.
Are there any
I think
signs
if
parents should watch out
if
for
if
or
they're
be worried
not
about
leaving
just
their
while
house
kids
at
abroad
all
are
points of time, just staying
concerned?
home, not mingling, not socializing, because yes, of course, introverts, extroverts exist, but in the beginning, when you're already facing so many negative emotions and going through so much, thinking about so much, feeling so much, being alone may not be the best solution. So if you notice that your friends or your children doing that, then maybe provide that push or provide that basis to keep them busy, or push them to do things, because that helps. Activity and movement makes a very, very big difference. I know in the first 4 5 months, so I used to walk a lot. I used to walk like 19,000 steps a day. That helped me dissipate energy. So doing stuff like that, yeah, you you have to. So things like that. And
Wow.
especially if you're not eating properly, or you're not doing that, sleeping well, those are, I think, yellow flags to start shifting or turning around, because they can be very big reasons of why you are also not adjusting to the place. If you're not eating properly, you're not sleeping properly. Yeah.
Hmm. Um, what do you do any self-care techniques? Did self-care techniques help you, or was it
Yeah.
only therapy? Like, what really worked for you? You have learned self-care techniques,
So
you have learned some things. I
um
mean, we've literally
i
bombarded you with all that stuff,
for me personally,
but
therapy has worked
honestly,
out a little
did
bit
that
more
help,
than
or does
usual.
taking therapy help more?
EFT I've
Like,
done a
what
few
worked?
times. Humming I do regularly.
Hmm.
So those things help, but I need an occasional therapy session to just let things out. It helps me feel lighter, and just have someone, push me to do, or give me call to actions, basically. Because when I'm in a not a very good zone, it's very difficult for me to logically pan out call to actions for myself and be like, okay, next 1 week you have to do these 5 things. So having someone to push makes that difference. But again, like I said, I don't take therapy like every week. I take it once in 1 month or once in 2 months. So the rest of the time I do, yeah, it's like yeah, exactly.
So it's almost also like mentoring,
Yeah,
right? So you would
yeah,
also recommend that students should
yeah,
have a
yeah.
mentor who they can connect to,
It
who is
gives you
not a
more
parent, who
context. Yeah,
is
like
not a
my therapist
relative,
doesn't
or who
only
is not
talk
a
about
friend, who is not
emotions and
emotionally
whatever all the
invested
time.
in
A lot
them,
of the
but who
conversation
can.
is also about, if I'm feeling that gap in terms of my career compared
Hmm.
to other people, what can I do to bridge that? Or, what are the few things that I need to focus on? Or how can I prioritize certain things, in the next few weeks? Like, I can do that myself as well, but it's just nice to have somebody to sit down together and do that with.
What are the challenges specifically you
So
face
one thing
when you go
definitely
to
is at
countries like
least
Europe or
adjusting to the
like,
place and
say,
the weather as
Germany?
a whole, because I have been catching a cold and I have fever every 3 weeks, like not even exaggerating. Since September, I've fallen sick every 3 weeks and I've had cold and fever or some allergic reaction. I don't know. People
Is
do fall sick, but
it
this
you
is
or
just
are there
maybe
others also?
specifically for me. Like I'm always sick. I don't know why, but I think a few people have told me that you have to give any new place 1 year, go through all the seasons, then your body will adjust. So that sorry, I forgot what was the
Correct.
question.
The
Yeah.
the question was,
Right.
what are the typical
Yeah, I
challenges
think
that one would face in
when
country
you
like
move to a country
Germany
where you're
or
not
in
100% aware of
European
the
countries?
language, that also becomes a factor in you not adjusting very, very quickly. Because at least I see my friends who are in the UK or in US, it becomes much easier because everyone around them speaks the same language. So irrespective of whether you talk to them or don't, there is that familiarity that you know what people are talking about. You can hear
Right.
familiar words, familiar thoughts, things like that, right? But when I moved to Germany, I had learned basics of the language, but then you feel that barrier. When a group of people around you is just talking fluently in German, it becomes a little difficult. You don't have to be a part of the conversation, but you just feel like you are in an unknown territory. So that doesn't help with adjusting. And other than that, the weather, getting used is coming from Ahmedabad, which is like 48 degrees. Yeah, food personally was not too much of a problem for me, but
Food,
for a lot of people it
food
is, in
also.
terms of how
Yeah.
bland it is. Lack of options, vegetarian options are lacking. But cooking is not that difficult, like coming from someone who has never cooked before other than vegetarian. Yeah.
Tell me, girls versus boys. I know I'm butting in, but in my
Hmm.
therapy practice, I've seen we have maximum number of females coming out for therapy, reaching out for therapy versus males. In the students community or amongst the students you have been around, how open are boys and girls, boys versus girls about talking
So
about
what
their
I've
mental
realized
health
is with
issues,
boys,
their
no,
challenges
no,
they are
it's
facing?
not. With boys, mostly
Is
it's like,
it like
even
across
if
genders? Is
it's a
it the same
conversation,
or
it's
is it
just
different?
mentioned and then the topic changes. There is no extensive. It's just today I was seeing a reel about how, girl friendships and guy friendships are different. If a girl will call up a girl at night, 2 o'clock, and be like, I'm not feeling good, there'll be a 3 hour conversation that
Huh,
follows. While with guys, it is like, oh my God, just go and sleep. We'll talk about this later.
huh,
Of course, that has its own biases, but
right.
that difference is there. Like, girl relationships are much more vocal and more expressive about emotions
I
specifically,
get that.
while with
Hmm.
guys, it's not the same. But I think different genders have different coping mechanisms, if I'm being very honest. And something I've realized is genders also think very differently. So as intensely as women maybe think about their emotions, guys, I have personally, I might be wrong, I'm not saying I'm correct, they think about things in a very different way. So I don't think I can comment in terms of how guys usually cope, because that's something I've never understood and I don't think I ever will as well. But yeah, there's that difference is there, but I can't point on the details of it. I don't know.
Okay, okay. Do people talk about, like I said, in the peer group, Indians or non-Indians? How common is
Um,
it about
I
discussing
was
about taking
surprised because
therapy or
I
seeking
felt this
help for
conversation was
emotional
more
issues?
was
No?
happening more in India with my friends there. Maybe because I mean, also what kind of a degree or where you're studying makes a
Mm.
difference, right? Like here, most of the conversations revolve around your career or your work or group projects, and only with a few bare minimum, at least I have conversations about things like this. Um, I don't know. It was something that I was very surprised about. I talked to you guys also about this before, that no one here talks. Like I come from an environment where it is, you talk a lot about these kind of things. Yeah, exactly. Plus, because of ISEC and ISEC's
And then you've
exposure,
got
there was
my
just too
genes,
much of
so
conversation
you must
about
be not
where
talking
you
so
come
much.
from. What are the five most intense things in your life that have changed you. So I came from an environment where it was very, very common to talk about the nitty-gritties and the details of good things, bad things, every relationship you
A
have,
lot of
from to
self-expression.
an environment where people were not talking. Now, I know for a fact that every environment is not like that.
Mm.
Generally, yeah. I
Is
think
it Indians
humans as
also
a
or
whole, right?
Germans also?
But of course,
Indians, or
then I
I mean,
realized
it's
that
across
everyone is in a new
generally. Okay.
environment. We are just here for 8 months.
Mm.
At least the conversation I used to have in Ahmedabad was with people who I worked
So
with for four
everybody.
years continuously. So of course the rapport is different, right? When you're in for here for such a short period, your course is very intense, it becomes you're not able, you don't know what to categorize where and what to talk about when. So it becomes more of an individual journey. Yeah, yeah,
Is it
definitely.
also very competitive? Can you sense a lot of competition? Yeah, yeah. Okay, Simran Arora is asking, according to you, what is the main thing a person needs in himself or herself for studying abroad?
Difficult question. um I I think it's just openness to new experiences, because irrespective of how smart you are, how skilled you are, unskilled you are, how much you've traveled or not traveled, if you're open to new experiences, if you're open to new things, it makes a difference. So new things does not have to be, you go to a German restaurant and eat, or you go to this place. It can be something new, as you just discovering a new hobby, or you watching a new kind of show, something new. Keep yourself open to new things, because when you're open to new things, then things seem to fall into place much faster than if you're closed. That's something that I've realized.
Wonderful. So I've asked people if they have any questions, but looks like people don't have too many questions. I think today's generation is also very clued on to, right? Like you, I know you had gone through like 100 reels before going to
Yeah, at
Germany.
least
Like,
my
does
friends over
everybody in your
here,
generation do that? Like, is
a
everybody
lot of
like
people
overly
knew
prepared
exactly what
with
they were
all this, or
signing up.
it's
A lot
just
of
you?
people had planned to come to this country beforehand, so there was that clarity about what they were signing up for. But of course, it still hits, right? No matter how much you're prepared. But yeah, reading up and being knowing, aware of what you're stepping
Of
into
course,
makes a
of
difference,
course.
because you're aware of the nitty-gritties. If you've watched 5 reels about how, let's say, the grocery stores are, you won't be shocked when there's no kirane ki dukan here and there is a big warehouse type grocery store. Things like that help you familiarize yourself a little bit to what you're stepping into.
Wonderful. So I think you've been quite open, very honest, and very clear about,
Mm.
everything. Your journey of not even a year yet in Germany. Is there anything before we close the live? Is there anything you would like to share with
No.
22-year-olds, 23-year-olds
Yeah,
on
I mean,
this live
see,
who
at the end
who
of the
are
day, it's a
going
very
out, yeah,
individual
who are probably
experience
going
as
out
well,
in this
right?
August, July?
Everyone, I think, goes through very different emotions, very different things. Um, but what is important is that you you take out time to create your identity, because that's something that you cannot do just in one day, sit down, make a note. But when you open yourself to new experiences, move abroad, I think everyone should do that once in their life. Go out to a new country and live there, whether you're going for work or studies or whatever, doesn't matter. But it is very transformational. It has been for me. It has given me a lot of clarity. No, definitely not. Definitely not.
It's not the
Go
same
alone.
as going with
Be
parents, right? I
forced
mean, it's
to
totally
deal with
different.
these difficult emotions
Right.
and these difficult feelings, because it brings a lot more confidence in yourself, right? So then now I know that if I have to move to another country, it'll be difficult, but I know exactly how it would be, and it would be much easier. Yeah. Yeah. And it brings in a lot of confidence, when, like, now I
And
know
how
I
will
can
you
say for a fact
manage?
that I can cook to keep myself alive. I can manage my finances. I can be okay sitting in my room 6 hours without any noise and still be comfortable. Because initially that was very haunting for me, being alone, coming from a loud place like India, here where there's nothing to be heard at all, it was difficult. So now I'm more comfortable in my own shoes, okay to be by myself. Still, of course, work in progress. There are still days I don't feel homesick as such, but I do face these emotions of not feeling very uh, comfortable, a little confused, empty, very normal. But I think I also realized that those are very adult emotions. Huh?
Any any message for parents? Like anything you would like to tell the parents who are sending off their kids this year in July, August, or
I think
whatever? Maybe
more than
18-year-olds,
anything,
maybe
just give
22
them
year
the
olds, maybe
space to
17 year
be
olds.
themselves. A lot of the biggest thing that you do after moving abroad is learn how to be by yourself and make your own decisions. I was very dependent on my parents for consulting on every decision I had to make. So I remember the first 1 month I spent like so much of time discussing which course should I take, this, that. Then I realized I was becoming too dependent. My daily decisions of what should I talk about with my friends, what should I do about my laptop, was very, very dependent on external perspectives. So give be a balance, be available for your children, but also give them the space to make mistakes and explore things on their own, so that self-confidence can develop more than anything else. You can give them more perspectives, about as a parent, because you
true.
sent me what helped you,
Yeah,
because I know when you also were.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but
I
you don't
always talk
talk
about
about
my
it
point
from
of
your
view, right?
perspective of
This whole
sending your
platform
kid
is about
abroad. So
others
you have
talking
also
about
seen
their
what I've
point
gone
of
through
view.
very
I mean,
closely. At least as parent perspective, maybe you can offer more, insight.
of course, of course. Yeah, I mean, no. Well, I think as parents, what we need to do is, like you said, give them space, but at the same time, keep a little bit of a watch. Like, I know that I'm one person who's always given a lot of space to Twishi, a lot of independence to her, given her a lot of freedom. But at the same time, I think somewhere I've always stayed connected with her. Even if she didn't want to talk, just about saying, okay, hi, okay, I'm not in a mood to talk, okay, bye bye. But still, I think that connection is very important. That is what I would say as a parent, because not every time that you connect with your child, there is going to be conversation, there's going to be sharing, or there's going to be new information. Sometimes it is just
Yeah.
that knowing that, okay, my parents are there, my mom is there, just say hello. And, so I think that's important. And I think we're all concerned like any other parent. I was also very concerned, I would tell her, don't go out late, don't do this, don't do that. But slowly,
No.
I have also, I think now given her I mean, I don't check on her as much now. Yeah, and this is all about learning, teaching them to be independent, to be adults, to be able to manage their life on their own. I don't think I've ever asked her, how, I mean, other than just asking, how are you doing in your courses? I'm not keeping tabs on how much
I think
scores
that
you're
helps
getting. How
also,
did you
because if you
project
know your
submit your
parents are
this
not
thing on time, that
micromanaging
thing
your
on
life,
time? How are your
at least
teachers?
it
Blah, blah, blah.
helps me feel more
So,
comfortable to talk about.
but I know some parents who are. I know some parents who have micromanaged down to, oh, today
Yeah.
my kid, the daughter did not submit her assignment, and she was late for that, and the teacher was. I mean, I think
Yeah,
boundaries are
that's
important,
good.
and I think
It's
if
an
that's the case, then you
experience
shouldn't
of
send your
signing up
child abroad.
for
But if
it.
you
Give
do
them the
send your child
space and the
abroad, then
opportunity to go
you
with
are doing
whatever
it with
comes,
the
good or bad.
intention.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And I think as parents, we sometimes have to really prepare ourselves more than our kids to be able to deal with, know the fact that your child is in an unknown country. If she falls sick, how is she going to handle it? What, all of those things do happen. Like when Twishi says she has fever, she has cold, my mind is already there all the time. Like, okay, what would be happening? Is she okay? What happens? What's the worst case scenario? So those things happen, but I think I have always reminded myself that this is her experience of being an independent person. Tomorrow, if I'm there or not there, she has to be able to survive on her own, and this is her training for that. So I think that is what parents have to keep in mind.
Speak
I think
fast and
that's it.
speak
In
too
40
much.
minutes, we've covered so much. We both speak so fast, and I think Yeah. So I think people have asked to save this live because I think it's very valuable. Yes, I mean, all my lives are there on Instagram, and I also upload them on my YouTube channel. It is also uploaded on Facebook. So all of you can go through this.
No, no, all
Trishi, are
good.
there any
I
parting
think
comments
I've
or
spoken
anything
a
else you
lot.
would
I've covered all
lastly
the
want to
bases.
add
But
over
yeah, I
here?
think that's about it.
Mm. Are mental health conversations
I have
common
not. Like,
amongst the
being very
knowledgeable
honest, I
community
have
there?
not.
Like,
I
do people
can't comment
regularly
on how
go
it's
and
like as a
see
local
their
reality,
shrink kind of a
because
thing?
I've not been exposed to it that much. Um, but some here and there, those comments happen. But I have not like had a very very long conversation with anyone. But I think a lot of places now, of course, it's increasing, and people are doing that. But I have not had that.
Tell me, my last question to you is, what is different about the
Oh,
Twishi
it's a simple
before
question.
August
It's not a
2022
simple question.
and the Twishi who is today talking to me in April
I think
2023?
I'm
Like
much
it's
more
been
comfortable
less
being
than a year,
alone.
but what's
My
different? Is
individual
there
presence is
anything
not
different?
haunting, but it's actually nice. I crave it a lot of times at the end of the day. And I wouldn't say, it's a most confident version or the most happiest version of myself. It's not. But I think I'm more comfortable dealing with things, and I'm more aware of what I need and don't need at the moment. So it's very easy for me to be like, okay, you know what? I need to stop this and I need to go out for a walk, or I need to, let's say, just go to the church and sit quietly for an hour. Like, I'm very aware about what I need in that moment. When it comes to food, activities, socializing, everything, I'm very aware, hyper aware, maybe too much as well. That's also not good. But about what I need and what I need to do in that moment. And I think that is something that's I would never ever have learned sitting in Ahmedabad. Like, I know for a fact. I could feel the relapse when I came for the vacation, by the way. I was like, okay, I'm going back to the dependent and lethargic and, blaming others for everything zone. Living alone helps you take more ownership.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Has it changed your relationships with
definitely. Like,
your
at
family
least,
members, like internally,
like I mentioned,
going
I
there?
have the conversation we've had in the last 7-8 months. I don't think we have ever had in our entire life, in terms of me with you, me with Papa. I've become much more closer to Ansh. It's very nice. Yeah, my brother. Yeah. So it's nice because we don't talk regularly, but
Ansh is a
then
brother.
I know for a fact that if he has some new updates in his life or I do, he will call me, and vice versa. So yes, yes. Not as much
So it's
talking
like
as,
hearts
of
have
course, in
grown
Ahmedabad,
fonder,
but
you would say,
there
with
are
the distance.
more relevant and more in I can't think of the word, more better conversations, basically, more quality conversations. Yeah.
So basically, too much. I think COVID and all of everybody together
Yeah.
was good,
Yeah,
but in a way
they
that
do.
was
They help you
also,
realize what is
I think
important, what you
sometimes
need and don't
distances
need
help
as
you
well.
value
There was this point where
a
I was,
family member.
updating 5 to 10 different groups about any update that's happening in my life. Then I was like, this is too much. It's 35, 40 people don't need to know about every small thing. So it helped me also realize compartmentalized relationships, uh, uh, you know,
Right.
appreciate them much more in terms of who is there for me at what point and who can I lean back in what kind of situations. So that also, it has changed relationship. It has given me that insight in terms of what are my priorities and what are not.
Wonderful, wonderful. So great, Rishi. Thank you so much. If anybody has any questions, you can ask me now. Otherwise, I'm going to close this live
Okay.
because I think, well, people
Maybe
don't
next
have
year
so many
we have
questions
one more live.
to Twishi or to me. But it was wonderful to have you, Twishi. Maybe next year it would be about something completely different. I don't know. But yeah, so wonderful, Twishi. Thank you so much. I think my Courage to Heal this year, I think, I don't know if this is the first one, second, or the third one, but I haven't done too many. I think I should do more of these. Yeah. But thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful to have you as always on this live. And thank you for being so open, so being so honest and candid about your journey, about your struggles. And
Yeah.
really, I'm
Yeah.
hoping that these conversations can normalize more and more conversations
Yeah.
around
That's
mental
true.
health. We don't lose out our youth to mental health issues
Yeah.
or to suicides or to things just because they are not able to talk about it. That is something that
Good
we
night.
need to work
Good
on.
evening.
So thank you
It's
so
just
much,
6 o'clock
Trishi.
here,
Good
but good
night
night.
to you.
Talk to you
Have a
on video
wonderful
call after this.
weekend.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah, good
Bye.
night to me. It's bedtime for me. Okay.